It's time to talk about this defense. All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, look, we all witnessed yesterday's tragedy of a football game. I mean, it was appalling from start to finish. Whether you want to talk about the turnovers, Mike White had 4 picks, 4 interceptions on the day. Are you kidding me? That's horrible. Corey Davis had a brutal fumble. It didn't cost the Jets the game. It didn't end the game right then and there. But, man, it was bad. Whether you want to talk about failing on third down, we were 3 of 13 on the entire day. 3 of 13, not going to fly. Whether you want to talk about being flagged 9 times and looking lifeless and not having any idea how to utilize the clock management. On top of all of those things, I feel like one of those commercials, but wait, there's more. The defense looked lifeless. It was lifeless out there. I mean, we were getting torched by the Buffalo Bills. And I said to myself, you know what? This has not been the first time this season. We gave up 45 points to Buffalo yesterday. We gave up 45 points to the Colts on Thursday the week before. We gave up 31 to the Bengals the week prior to that. The week before that, we gave up 54 points coming off of the bye week to a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones, who's been playing some good ball, but still he's a rookie quarterback, and you're giving up 54 points, and you had 2 weeks to prepare. This defense needs to be talked about. This defense needs to be held accountable. I mean, we are dead last in points per game, yards per game, points per play, yards per play, and opposing touchdowns per game. That is atrocious. And look, yes, we are filled with injuries. Marcus May's done for the year, Vinny Curry, Carl Lawson, who else? LaMarcus Joyner. We've had injuries to the linebacking position. Gerard Davis, CJ Mosley has missed time. Who else? Jamie Sherwood. Hamza Nasruddin's another guy who's missed time. I understand that we have a bunch of injuries and we don't really have that much talent to begin with, but these numbers are horrible. In every defensive rushing statistic, we're ranked in the 20s, aka below average at best. Against the pass, we're no better. 31st in yards per pass, 29th in opposing completion percentage, 31st in passing yards, obviously opposing passing yards per game. That is horrible. So, in the grand scheme of things, teams are racking up yards, racking up points, scoring touchdowns at ease. They are running the ball on us. They are passing the ball on us. But wait, there's more. Let's look at the turnovers. We are last in takeaways, giveaways, and opponent turnover margin. Let's look at the penalties. We're 27th in penalties per play and 26th in penalties per game. So, we're looking at this defense right now. Yes, it's young. Yes, it's banged up. Yes, it's being coached by rookies. To me, and I really don't feel like this is an over-exaggeration to say at this point in time after watching this defense every single week after looking at those numbers, to me, that looks like the worst defense in football. I mean, we heard Ulbrich say a couple weeks ago, we're never going to see a performance like the Patriot game again. I mean, he might as well have said, we're going to see that performance every week. I mean, nothing has changed. But if we take those ranks and we put them aside for a second, I still have major issues here. Why is it that this defense looked so much better early against the Panthers, against the Patriots in week 2, where Zach Wilson was getting sacked? He was turning the ball over left and right, 4 interceptions from Zach Wilson, and we still only managed to hold the Patriots to, I think, 24 points. I mean, where has that defense gone? I mean, this defense that's currently out on the field, it just doesn't look like there's any fire. There's no passion at all. It's very frustrating. It really is. This team does not play complementary football, not in the slightest. I mean, early on in the season, when the offense was dragging, when the offense looked like the worst in football, the defense was actually looking pretty good. They were putting out respectable performances. Now, all of a sudden, everything is flipped on its head. Obviously, except for yesterday, right? That Bills game was just a disaster from top to bottom. But, you know, against Cincinnati, Indianapolis, the offense was finally starting to move, right? We were getting yards, we were picking up first downs, we were putting the ball in play, controlling the clock, scoring touchdowns. But now the defense goes downhill. So, to me, this is a coaching problem. And yes, we can tie it to talent, but here's my issue. I don't want this team to be directly correlated with talent. I don't want the wins and losses to only be a reflection of the talent on this football team. And that was actually one of my fears of hiring Robert Saleh. I was a huge fan of the hire. I was thinking that we were getting a fiery head coach that gets people pumped up, that gets guys ready to go. We're playing from start to finish. You know, you might beat us on the scoreboard. Final score might not be in our favor, but you know what? We're going to beat you down. You do not want to play the New York Jets because we're going to hit you. We're going to make you work for every single yard. And that just hasn't been the case. I mean, especially these past couple weeks, man, it looks like me clocking into work on Monday after a Jets loss. Like, I'm just, here, like, let me just punch in and get today over with. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. I mean, it almost looks a little bit like Todd Bowles. Where's the San Francisco Saleh? I want to see that guy. I know he's still there. I know it. I mean, that's the guy that loves football. That's the guy that gets players juiced on the sidelines. That's the guy that everybody wants and loves to play for. Everybody's one big family, one big unit. But this season, it just does not really resemble. It's not even a shell of what was happening in San Francisco. But one of my fears, initially going back to the point I was, going to make. One of my fears about hiring Saleh was his first season in San Francisco, that defense was not very good. It wasn't until they started adding guys like Nick Bosa, D Ford, who else, Quan Alexander, some big-time players, some big-time talent. And that's when the defense really started to pick up and, put up some awesome numbers and really started to dominate the NFL. It wasn't so much because of the scheme. It wasn't so much because of the coaching. It was, we're adding talent, therefore we're getting better. That was in the back of my mind a little bit, because the Jets, I mean, we don't have that much talent. Carl Lawson's down for the year, and, we only have so many players. Jamal Adams is gone. Marcus May's out for the year. Like, we don't have, this isn't the 09 Jets, okay? It's basically what I'm saying here. I really don't want to be in a situation where now we have to draft a ton of really good players and sign a ton of really good players for us to be a respectable defense. Because if that's the case, I think the question would turn to who can't coach a defense like that, a team that's just absolutely stacked. So this defense is trending downwards. It seems like we're getting worse over time. That is not a good sign. It seems lifeless. It seems like we kind of have to be there. I feel like the fire, the energy, the passion, the love of football is not really there. And of course, I'm not really looking at this entire season. I'm not projecting into the future that, the defense will continue to look horrible. Maybe we get it figured out this week against the Dolphins. That's definitely a winnable game. They're not some sort of Super Bowl contending team. Maybe we get back on track against the Dolphins, but this defense needs to turn it around. We need to wake up. Okay, we cannot continue to be the laughingstock of the NFL. And it sucks to say this, but it's the honest truth here. I've been pretty disappointed in the scheme, and of course we can point to, the main idea of the defense, which is limiting the deep ball and keeping everything in front of you. Have we been doing that successfully? Yes, we have. But every other aspect, I feel like we're coming up short. Stopping the run, we can't do that. I mean, we have a hard time against mobile quarterbacks, guys extending the play. We have a hard time stopping the short passing game. These past few weeks, there has been no pass rush. Quarterbacks have been sitting back there all day. All day. I mean, John Franklin Myers signed his extension. I haven't heard his name called since. We have no pass rush either. God, it's just not a recipe for success. It really isn't. When you can't rush the passer, you can't stop the run, can't stop the pass. I mean, something has to give. Something has to give. And, we can point to Rex Ryan. I mean, that guy got the most out of his players. And yeah, we had a couple of first round busts, under his tutelage, like Quentin Coples and whatnot. Obviously Sheldon Richardson ended up on a new team, and we could go down the list of all the players the first round players that didn't work out, and second round players for that matter as well. But I mean, we had guys like Marcus Williams stepping up. You remember him? Remember Darren Walls, Antonio Allen, one of my favorite Jets. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere, playing some safety, playing some corner. The guy was all over the defense, just a Swiss Army knife, just developed by Rex Ryan. Remember when we had to play Salim Hakeem at cornerback, a backup wide receiver at cornerback, because we were decimated at the position, and we still put out a solid defensive performance? I think we actually could have won that game. I mean, say what you want about Rex, can't develop a quarterback, no offensive input, sideline antics, too high, too low, that kind of thing. But when you look at his defense, they came to play. Look at Todd Bowles, same deal. Couldn't develop a quarterback, no input on offense, horrible clock management. Stood in the same place the entire game. I mean, which is what we're seeing from Saleh, but his defenses, they came to play. I mean, it's not like those defenses were, the Bears, the 80s Bears or anything like that. No, I mean, We didn't have that much talent. Yeah, we had a couple playmakers, but Todd's defenses came to play. I can really only think of one negative performance, and it was at the end of the Bulls era. It was against Matt Barkley and the Bills, and coincidentally, they were in MetLife Stadium, and they hung, I think, over 40 or 30 points on this Jets defense. That's the only one that comes to mind. Look at Greg Williams. Was it the best defense in the league? No. Was it top 5? No. But nobody wanted to play Greg Williams' defense. He didn't have elite talent. Yeah, he had Jamal Adams. Yeah, he had Marcus May. CJ Mosley was down for the, out for the year, got hurt week 1. I mean, when CJ Mosley was in there, that defense looked pretty good for that, half of football, that first quarter of football. So the point is, it's disappointing that we bring over a defensive guy, a guy known for defense. Seattle, Jacksonville, San Francisco, now the Jets. We bring over Jeff Ulbrich from Atlanta, and this defense looks worse than Greg Williams' defense, than Todd Bowles' defense, than Rex Ryan's defense. So we got to get it figured out. We really, really do. We still have a lot of money in free agency. We have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. It's going to be a nice third-round pick because the Jets keep losing games. And we have 2 fourth-round picks. This team will add talent. Guys will get healthy. Carl Lawson will be back. But here's the deal. Just because that stuff is going to happen doesn't mean this season is just a free pass. Oh, well, we don't have enough talent. Guys are banged up. So, we have an excuse to put out horrible performances. It doesn't fly. Does not fly. Rex Ryan didn't have the talent at the end. He made it work. Bowles didn't have much talent. He made it work. Greg Williams didn't have much talent. He made it work. We got to get it right. Jets defense, I don't know what's happening, but it's been disappointing. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What's your take on this Jets defense? Do you think it's all because of talent missing? Is it because Joe Douglas hasn't done a good enough job of supplying this team with depth on the defense side of the football? Is it youth? Is it a combination of all of these things? Or is it just Saleh being a young head coach and Ulbrich, might not have the best grip on the defense calling plays? But the bottom line is this. I do kind of want to end it off on this. I do feel like we have potential to be a solid defense. I mean, we saw good performances against Carolina, against, New England in week 2. Even though we lost that game by multiple scores, the defense I was impressed with. So I believe we have it in us. Even against Tennessee, but I believe we have it in us. It's just mind-boggling at this point. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and as always, go Jets.